Hello, everybody. It's great to be with a friend of mine who was Prime Minister of the Netherlands. I got to know him very well. We had a great relationship always. Mark Rutte. Now he's Secretary General of NATO and doing a fantastic job. Everybody, every report I've gotten is what a great job he did, and I'm not at all surprised when I hear it. We had to support him, and we supported him as soon as I heard the name. But he was a fantastic prime minister, and he's doing a fantastic job. An even tougher job. Which is tougher, being the prime minister of Netherlands, or
this job is quite tough.
I would think this is a little
but Dutch politics is also brutal. So,
but this is pretty tough. But you're doing good. We're going to be discussing a lot of things. Obviously, we'll be discussing what's happening with respect to Ukraine and Russia. At this moment, we have people talking in Russia. We have representatives over there, Steve Witkoff and others, and they're in very serious discussions. As you know, Ukraine has agreed, subject to this, what's happening today, to a complete ceasefire, and we hope Russia will do the same. Thousands of people are being killed, young people, usually, mostly young people. We were just talking about it. Thousands of young people are being killed a week, and we want to see that stop. And they're not Americans, and they're not from the Netherlands for the most part.
No.
They're from Russia, and they're from Ukraine, but they're people. And I think everybody feels the same way. We want it to stop. It's also a tremendous cost to the United States and to other countries. And it's something that would have never happened if I were president, and it makes me very angry to see that it did happen. But it happened, and we have to stop it. And Mark has done some really good work over the last week. We've been working together, and he's done some really good work, so I'm very happy about that. We'll also be talking about trade and various other things, and I think we'll have a very strong day. We're going to have lunch afterwards. That'll go, and then we'll see you all later. But Mark, would you like to say something?
Yeah. First of all, thank you so much, Mr. President, dear Donald, again for hosting me, and but also for taking time in Florida a couple of weeks after you were re-elected.
That's right.
And of course, our phone call a couple of weeks ago, and I must say, Trump 45, you originated the fact that in Europe we are now spending, when you take it to aggregate, 700 billion more on defense than when you came in office in 2016, 2017. But that was Trump 45. But when you look at Trump 47,
It's going to be hard to tell.
what happened the last couple of weeks is really staggering. The Europeans committing to a package of 800 billion defense spending. The Germans now, potentially up to $500 billion extra in defense spending. And then, of course, you had Keir Starmer here, the British Prime Minister, and others, all committing to much higher defense spending. We're not there. We need to do more. But I really want to work together with you in a run-up to the The Hague Summit to make sure that we will have a NATO which is really reinvigorated under your leadership, and we are getting there. We also discuss defense production because we need to produce more weaponry. We are not doing enough. And not in the US, not in Europe, and we are lacking behind when you compare to the Russians and the Chinese. And you have a huge defense industrial base. Europeans buying 4 times more here than the other way around, which is good because you have a strong defense industry, but we need to do more there to make sure that we ramp up the production and kill the red tape. So I would love to work with you on that. And finally, Ukraine. You broke the deadlock. As you said, all the killing, the young people dying, cities getting destroyed. The fact that you did that you started the dialogue with the Russians, and the successful talks in Saudi Arabia now with the Ukrainians. I really want to commend you for this. So, The Hague is my hometown. I love to host you there in the summer and work together to make sure that will be a splash, a real success, projecting American power on the world stage.
What Mark is saying is when I first went to NATO, my first meeting, I noticed that very few people were paying. And if they weren't paying their fair share. There were only 7 countries that were paying what they were supposed to be paying, which was... Yeah,
it's even worse.
Could be even worse. Yeah, but there were just very few countries that were paying, and even the paying, it was at 2%, which is too low. It should be higher. It should be quite a bit higher. But you had Poland, and I remember Poland was actually paying a little bit more than they were supposed to, which I was very impressed with. They've been actually terrific, and some of the others. But most of them weren't paying, or they were paying very little. And I didn't think it was appropriate to bring it up there, but I said it's going to be brought up at my next meeting. And my next meeting, the first meeting you want to give them a little break. The second meeting, it began, and I was able to raise hundreds of billions of dollars. I just said, we're not going to be involved with you if you're not going to pay. And the money started pouring in, and NATO became much stronger because of my actions and working along with a lot of people, including Mark. But they would not pay for other presidents, and I don't think other presidents even knew that they weren't paid. I asked first question, has everybody paid up? And literally, I mean, they told me 7. You could be right, it could be 3, but that makes it even worse. But they just weren't paying. And I said, no, I won't protect if you're not paying. If you're delinquent or if the money isn't paid, why would we do that? And as soon as I said that, got a little hit from the press because they said, oh, gee, that's not very nice. But if you said the other, nobody would have paid. And the money started coming in by the billions. And, hundreds of billions of dollars flowed into NATO, and NATO became strong.
Yeah.
And you remember that. Your predecessor, who I thought was a very good man.
Absolutely. Jens Stoltenberg. He sends his best greetings.
He was terrific. Stoltenberg, Secretary General.
Great
and
man.
He made the statement that when Trump came in, the money started coming in like we never saw before. Hundreds of billions, actually probably close to $600 billion came in, and NATO became strong from that standpoint. And now we have to use it wisely, and we have to get this war over with, and you'll be back to a normal, much more normal life. And maybe we're close. We're getting words that things are going okay in Russia, and it doesn't mean anything until we hear what the final outcome is. But they have very serious discussions going on right now with President Putin and others. And hopefully they all want to end this nightmare. It's a nightmare. It's a horrible thing when you look. I get pictures every week. They give me the pictures of the battlefield, which I almost don't want to see. It's so horrible to see young people laying arms and legs and heads laying all over the field. It's the most terrible thing that you'll ever see. And it's got to stop. These are young people with mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and friends, and it's got to stop. So we hopefully are going to be in a good position sometime today to have a good idea. We know where we are with Ukraine, and we are getting good signals outside of Russia as to where we are with Russia. And hopefully they'll do the right thing. It's really humanity. We're talking about humanity. We're not talking about the money. But then you add the money to it, and hundreds of billions of dollars is being spent and really wasted so unnecessarily. It should have never happened. So it's an honor to have you here. They picked a great gentleman. I'll tell you, I was so happy to hear, because you had somebody. Stoltenberg was really good, and you have somebody that's going to do an incredible job. And I was so much in favor of you. You have no idea. They had another person that I did not like. I was not happy. And I think I kept him from, you know what I'm talking about. I said, this is the right man to do it. And he really did. He was a great prime minister of the Netherlands. He did a great job. And that's what he's doing right now. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And it's a very great honor to have you. And we even have some of our great energy people here today, right? We have the governor, and we have Chris, Chris, right?
Absolutely.
He's supposed to be the most talented man in the world of energy, according to the governor. So I don't know if he's right. And we have General, you've been fantastic. Thank you very much. And we have a lot of good people that won't be so much involved with this, but they wanted to see what was happening. It's become a little bit of a show, but they wanted to see what was happening. And I think a lot of good things are happening.